What is going on, guys? We are back here with Mr. Gordon Titsworth again. How you doing,
That's
man?
great, man.
I appreciate you coming on the show again. And now, from what, let me kind of just try to lead in what we're going to talk about today here. Now, the metal community, we know that you had issues on your last European tour last year with a band called W.A.S.P, and you guys were over in Europe. You're going to go through the whole story, but with me, what I've heard and seen in the metal community, this story has not been released yet, or like the full details have not been released. And that is what you're here to do today, right? To give us and the Images of Eden fans, the metal fans, just the whole metal community, your Images of Eden story with the fallout of the European tour with W.A.S.P. And you have more than welcome to have the floor. Let us know. Uh, this is exclusively here on the Crash Course Metal Show. We're the first ones here to bring it, right?
You are, and you've been an awesome supporter, man. So we just got the green light to say everything we needed to say and everything we want to say. So okay. I just appreciate the opportunity to say it. So this is, we've been asked, a pretty good amount of time many times over the last year, what happened. And for legal reasons, we really couldn't say anything. But now, I mean, we've actually put that to rest, and now we are officially able to speak about it. So, just to make sure I don't cross any boundaries, I'm just going to give the facts, and but the facts say a lot. I'm going to let everybody make up their own minds, but the facts are this, and I'll just tell you the story. We were really excited. We, first flew out to Phoenix to rehearse, and then we all left from Phoenix and flew to Stockholm, Sweden, and met up with our tour manager and all. We were, ready for the first show. And, we got to the first show, and, it was normal. We rolled in, we set up our equipment, and we played a sold out show in Stockholm. Now, when we were in the middle of our set, it was just before the last song or so, we saw something happen backstage, and we were waiting for the intro to play for Fight the Good Fight. So I kind of walked backstage, and the stage manager was actually kind of more or less hassling our stage guy, saying, you're off stage, you're already going over your set. You got to stop. You got to get off stage. And I said, no, we don't. When we signed up, and we signed on for this tour, the agent who represented Blackie, and also, which is the same agent who represented our label. Okay. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want him getting in the middle of this, but he promised us a 40-minute set. So that's what we're doing. And, this guy's arguing with me and arguing with one of our guys. Meanwhile, we're waiting on the intro to play. And I was like, look, I'm going back out there. We have a 40-minute set. If there's a problem, talk to me afterwards and we'll address it. But this was agreed upon. It was clear, poor communication. Yeah. Okay. So whatever, went back out, did the last song, we were good to go. Got, great response in Stockholm. And, that was awesome. So didn't think anything of it. We went back to our hotel room. And then the next show, the next night was in Husqvarna, Sweden, which was another awesome show. And the one thing I noticed too, is with each show, our performance was just getting tighter and better. Okay, yeah. And, so that worked out great. So we got to Husqvarna, and I don't know, we just felt this kind of unwanted, cold feeling from everybody. Okay. They didn't say anything specific. They didn't do anything specific, but you just got that vibe. We just got this cold
everyone
vibe.
That's on the tour with you mean? Or like,
the W.A.S.P crew, the stage crew, everybody. We just kind of felt this kind of, unwanted feeling. It was pretty clear. And it was funny because when we were setting up, Steve Dorson was setting up his drums, and W.A.S.P stage manager walked up to Steve, and as close as I can remember, his exact words were, "Hey, just so you know, the boss doesn't like it when his audience cheers too much for the opening band." And Steve was kind of like, huh? Yeah. Which was a very odd way of saying, tone it down.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing was, it's very simple. I mean, Steve told me, and I was like, you're adorable, bro. Mm-hmm. We didn't fly 2,500 miles to Sweden, make all these arrangements and all this stuff just to phone in our performance. Right. I was like, we play every show like it's our last day on Earth. Like if there's never going to be another show, we give it everything we've got. It's like, look, when our set's over, we're out of your hair. We're going to grab our stuff. We're going to go. We're not going to bother you. We'll let you do your thing, obviously. But at the time we're on stage, we're going to own that stage. We're going to own that venue, and we're going to own that crowd. And we're giving it every single thing that we have. I mean, we waited a lifetime to get to Europe. Yeah. We're giving it everything we've got. We're not going to phone it in because you said the boss man doesn't like his crowd to cheer too much. And that's, that told us a lot right there.
Exactly. Yeah.
And, so, okay, whatever, we let it go. Now, we're about to go on, and they say, okay, guys, go on. It's your time to go on now. Mm-hmm. So we went on at the time that they designated. And then afterwards, we got reprimanded for going on too early. We're like, we can't win here. You tell us to go on, and then you tell us, well, we shouldn't have gone on at that time. We should have, whatever. So there was very poor communication, and that was clear. It was clear that there was poor communication through most of it. And so, the first night I didn't actually get to check out W.A.S.P set, but the second night, after our set, I went to our merch booth, and it was in earshot of the stage, and it was actually at the back of the venue. So I had a pretty good, I could see everything that was going on. And, they came on, they sounded great. I mean, I thought it was great. I mean, I was a W.A.S.P fan. Steve Dorsum was a huge W.A.S.P fan. He actually brought a picture of him with Blackie that was taken maybe on the Last Command tour or something like that. And he was going to say, hey, Blackie, check this out, man. This was, because he was really inspired by Blackie.
Right. Yeah.
And, hey, I was a fan. I loved their first two albums. Kind of went, whatever from there. But, so they started their set, and I thought it sounded awesome. And the vocals came in, and I was pretty blown away. Actually, I was just like, wow, man, his chops are on point. Mm-hmm. I thought they sounded exceptional. And that's all I thought. I didn't know any better, clearly. Mm-hmm. And that was that. Next night was in Oslo, and we had 2 shows scheduled for Oslo. So we, got in there, unloaded all of our stuff. And again, like I said, we were super tight in that show. That show, we were just right on the money. I mean, Stockholm opening night was good, but opening night's always a little, you're still grabbing your feet. Right. Husqvarna, we were on point, sounded awesome. Oslo, we were in the zone. And it was right after the show, because it was we were supposed to have a show the next night in the same venue. We just put all of our stuff backstage, and everybody went home. Steve Dorsum and I stayed around. We wanted to actually check the show out, since we didn't have to wake up early the next day. We didn't have to drive to another city. It was like, hey, let's hang out tonight, and let's just check out the show. So after the show, everybody left, because we were playing a show in the same venue the next day. We didn't have to drive anywhere. Steve Dorsum and I decided to just hang around and, check out the show, let's have fun, whatever. So we came out from backstage, and the way that venue was, when we came out to the front from backstage, we were all the way on the far left. We were right in front of the barriers. So we just basically stood all the way against the wall on the side, off the beaten path, not, bothering anybody. And this is when I started to put 2 and 2 together. And again, I'm just going to tell you what I saw. I'm not going to make any claims or anything like this, but here's the fact. Blackie has this huge demonic monstrosity as a microphone stand that is called Elvis. It's like this huge, like big spine with this skull and that, you know, just this whole big thing. And it basically it's monstrosity. It's a big monstrosity and it covers a lot of him. Mm-hmm. And it covers his face. Okay. He also uses a lot of smoke. Didn't think anything of it. I just thought there's this crazy demonic looking mic stand. So I'm standing off to the side, and I think the song Blind in Texas came on. So he's playing and, you know, singing, and all of a sudden he looks down at his guitar, and that note's still going. Okay. It wasn't a delayed note. I saw it. I'm not, you know, again, I'm not making any claims, but I saw that note go. Okay. And it kept going. And then I started to think, wow, you know,
something doesn't up. Seem right.
Yeah. Something's up. So didn't think anything of it. Towards the end of the set, one of the guys from our crew, his name is John, he went into the photographer's pit, which is right up front. He got underneath Blackie, and I didn't know whether he was taking pictures or video or what, but he got right up underneath him, and he saw underneath Elvis. And that was that. Right at the end of the show, a couple of guys from the W.A.S.P crew just beelined right for him. They just came right out from backstage, and they grabbed him, and they made him delete everything that was on his phone. All the pictures, video, whatever he had taken. I mean, it was kind of like the black Suburban pulling up and the Men in Black CIA guys coming out and just grabbing you. They forced him to delete all of that stuff. And sounds like, what's the problem here? You had people taking pictures and video the whole show. Yeah. All of a sudden, this guy is the problem. Mm-hmm. Was it because did he catch something that they didn't want the world to see? Why did they make him delete everything? Yeah. I don't understand that. What is there to hide? You know, I mean, you got a mic stand that covers your face. You've got smoke roaring out. You send your cronies out to shut this guy down. What are you trying to hide? I don't get it. You know, and it kind of blew my mind because before we went on tour, Blackie actually complimented us to the agent and said, "Hey, I actually like this band. You know, it's going to be refreshing to have them on tour." I figured, hey, this is going to be great. I did not expect what we got. You know, I mean, it just seemed like they wanted to shut us down. And when we called them out on it, their reasoning was, well, you know, they kept breaking the rules. You know, they didn't abide by the rules, and they had enough. And they basically called us amateurs. So, you know, just these guys were acting like a bunch of amateurs. Well, what did we do? What did we do? Well, you said we broke a bunch of rules. What rules? You never gave us a list of rules. When we were going back and forth before the tour, Steve Dorsum was basically begging for rules. Hey, let us know what we should and shouldn't do. Let us know when we're going to be at the places. You know, there's a bunch of do's and don'ts when it comes to touring, and you need to be told what to do and what not to do so you don't do this. And if we did break some rules, why didn't somebody pull us aside and say, hey, you guys broke this rule and this rule? And if that were the case, that would never happen again. I promise you. But no, we didn't get anything. We were told to tone it down on the second night. Boss man doesn't like his crowd, you know, yada, yada. We were told to tone it down. And then did we happen to capture something that they didn't want, or he didn't want the world to see? I don't understand. You know, it seemed like it was a very harsh reaction to breaking rules. Okay. You know, put two and two together. You know, I mean, when we got off tour and I said, you know, hey, you know, we were thrown off tour, our fans speculated something, and there was a consensus of what they speculated. And I'm just letting you know they were right.
Okay. So when you mentioned about Blackie liked you guys and wanted you guys to come be the opener, yeah, for the whole tour, for the whole European tour, you got very similar love for acts and tours that you went on. Michael Shankner, Yngwie Malmsteen, loved you guys. Striper loved you guys. Like, so there's not an for the amateur word that you said, you guys being amateur. I've seen you guys live as well too, and just from what I hear from the names that I just mentioned, Yingwei, certainly Yingwei, because he has a, people know who Yingwei is, and it's hard to work with him. But he he loved you guys, and so when you say that, like he loved you, and then after 3 shows, tone it down, and you're not, or and he throws you off like that. Something doesn't add up, like you said. Something isn't adding up here, and I mean it's crazy to me because like this isn't your first rodeo,
Right.
as Image of Eden. So yeah, please. Yeah.
And it's funny because our first tour with Metal Church and Doro, they were awesome. I mean, it was a big family there. I mean, they treated us great, and they told us some things not to do. We didn't do them. They told us some things to do. We did them. Simple as that. Yeah. I mean, Malmsteen treated us great. I mean, he didn't want anybody in there when he's doing a sound check. I get it. I mean, he was great.
That was a rule, though. You knew
it
that
was a rule, and I knew it, and we knew it, and we were told it ahead of time. So we didn't break it. I mean, there was a night we're standing out and it's raining. It's starting to sleet. We're like, come on, man, get done. But it is what it is. And yeah, so I mean, even the last night with Yngwie, we got to hang out with him a little bit. He was super cool. He is a guy who is a little bit misunderstood. People have their opinions about him. He is just a perfectionist. He is a perfectionist. He does what he does. It's got to be, as perfect as can be. If you listen to him play, you can kind of understand why. Yeah. But you get him away from that and you talk to him as a human, dude, he's a good dude. And that's why I thought for sure we were going to be taken care of, because I've told Blackie like this. He was a born again Christian, or so we understood that he claimed to be. I'll leave that at that. I don't want to say anything specific about that, but I thought for sure we were going to be taken care of, and it was the polar opposite. It was, and I don't understand it. I mean, now, that's why I don't want to say what I think happened, but I think you can kind of read in between the lines. I gave you the facts. I'm not making any claims. I'm just saying what I saw and what we were told. I have nothing bad to say about Blackie Lawless. I am not going to go on record and say anything bad about Blackie Lawless. Hey, man, I was a fan for a long time, but I don't think it was handled very well. Now, that being said, I knew he was flying back and forth to Germany to get epidural injections. His back was killing him. In his defense, I'm sure that didn't help things. Every few days he's got to, he had to cancel a gig because he physically couldn't do it. He had to go to Germany. He had to get these injections. He had to come back. So that was what it was. And I'm sure that caused an overreaction. So again, I'm never going to disparage the guy. I'm never going to say anything bad, but the facts were the facts, and that was our experience.
Yeah. Yeah, that was that's certainly, don't you, like you said, you don't want to go personal on anything, but professionally though, not a very good look.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you want, I mean, whatever he was doing with, the big mic stand, hiding his face, vocals not adding up, that's no secret. Go onto YouTube. It's out there. I mean, I'm not saying anything that the world doesn't already know.
Yeah, that you haven't already seen in the comment section of video, of live videos.
But again, I'm not going to say anything bad about the man. He gave us the platform to play 3 amazing shows in Scandinavia, and now we're getting to go back with Soil. And I know this time we're going to be taken care of.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's another point I wanted to ask you about. Of you had way more than 3 dates to play on this tour, right? How many dates were there?
There were 22 shows scheduled.
Okay, all right, and you got cut after 3.
After 3, yep.
And you were, from what it seemed, loved by the fans, or like the fans were reaction to you was very warm.
It was incredible. Yeah. And it was funny because each night it just kept getting better. And third night, here we were stranded in Oslo, Norway, with nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, what do we do? So we had to book emergency flights home, which were incredibly expensive last minute. I mean, Eric Mulvane and I had to fly out of Oslo. We got to Munich for a layover, flew to Chicago O'Hare for a layover, and then he went to Michigan. I went to Baltimore, but I actually missed my flight and I had to stay in Chicago overnight. Then you got the rest of the guys had to fly from Oslo to Warsaw, Poland to Chicago O'Hare. And then they had to fly to either Phoenix or Carlos had to go to Mexico. So, I mean, it was a mess.
This is post-COVID era as well. So like going international is not very easy.
No, it's not. It's a big headache going through all of the garbage that you have to go to do an international flight, especially from one continent to another.
Yeah, all the bands that I talk to, they have issues coming. International bands have issues that you will not believe to just come over to America. And I can imagine you guys coming back with it was a big issue.
I mean, we had guitars. You figure Eric had this thing. He had both of his basses. It was something, man. But at the end of the day, we played 3 awesome shows. I really can't complain because everything happens for a reason. And I mean, like I said, we joke, but it's exactly the case. I mean, this year is called our 2024 European Redemption Tour because, hey, and the good thing is, Tim King from Soil, Tim King's the VP of Pavement Entertainment, and we're going out with him, and he loves us and we love him, man. And he's just going to hold us right here. And it's going to be a big camaraderie, on the tour bus. So we know we're going to get taken care of, and that's the saving grace. And we finally get to play the Netherlands, Switzerland, Germany. So loving it.
Very cool. Glad that's happening because you certainly did get cut short of the potential there of going on your first year. That was your first European go around too. Yeah. So yeah, what a way to start it off, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, and I kind of, you always hear those stories of like rock stars, and then specifically W.A.S.P and just W.A.S.P in general, how Chris Holmes and Blackie, there's always something going on between the two throughout the career and history of W.A.S.P. And you're like, whose side can you really take? Like what the more stories I hear, not just of you guys, but of other bands that I talk to too, that have played throughout the years with Blackie, I'm starting to lean more on, okay, I see what Chris Holmes is talking about now, So I just feel for you guys. When that happened, I was like, man, the potential was ripped. It was a rug pull.
Yeah. It was. It absolutely was. Yep. And it's funny because I won't get into that, but we had a couple of people who are in the business, and they told us before the tour even happened, they said they were a little nervous about it. So, but again, I don't take stock in any kind of opinions beforehand. I can only say what happened, what we saw, and what we were seeing. And that's it.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's the story. I mean, you guys got it right for the most part. Just a couple of little additional, I guess, details beyond that.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
But our fans aren't stupid. You guys are awesome. No, you can read in between the lines.
Exactly. And I mean, and that's the thing, because like throughout the past couple of years, like people I know send me live W.A.S.P videos, and they're like, man, Blackie sounds so good. His vocals sound so good. He still sounds like he's 20, 30
Dude,
years
I was
old.
blown away.
Yeah, I mean, me too, man. Like I was like, dude, this guy's great. I want to go see him live and stuff. And, and now hearing some stories now, hearing some testimonies and stuff, it's like, okay, now we kind of see what other people were talking about now and what the whole ordeal is. And just amazing.
Eddie Trunks talked about it. I mean, a lot of people talk about it. It's not news, and I'm still not even saying it out loud.
Yeah.
And, it's like when we got home, the first thing we thought is, man, what just hit us? And we stayed off the grid a couple of months. We couldn't say anything up front because we knew it was going to be a mess, and we didn't want to overstep any kind of legal stuff. But I did go live right a couple days after we got home, and just to kind of put everybody's mind at ease, because everybody's wondering what's going on, man. I had to say, look, we're okay. It is what it is. We got fired from the tour. We're home now. And I just wanted to just let everybody know not to worry. This is not going to phase us. We're going to, come back. And I even said on that, I said, listen, I promise you this 7th album is going to be our best release yet. At the time, I had no clue what we were going to do. At the time, I was just talking. I wanted to reassure everybody everything was going to be okay, but really we weren't okay. That really knocked us down. It took the wind out of our sails. And for a couple months, I was literally just like, why am I doing this? I mean, it's just, there were times where if Steve Dorsum had come to me and said, dude, I can't do this anymore, I'd be like, oh, thank God. That was kind of how I started to feel for a while. And I thought, wait a minute, no, stop, stand up and shut up, because this is what you do. This is what I've been doing. This is what I've been doing for 50 years. I am not going to stop now just because somebody decided,
there was a hiccup.
Yeah.
That's why
I'll leave it at that.
There's been a hiccup.
And, so I said, we're going to give it everything we've got. And then it made me say, all right, we're really going to, rehearse, practice, push myself to be better. We're going to make sure this next album is going to be the best, which I'm feeling very good about too. So that does come down to the old cliche of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I kind of hate that, but it is the absolute truth. Sometimes you need to get knocked down to almost say, well, you know what? I really don't care what happens now, and I'm not going to take it too seriously. I'm not going to be worried about, if this doesn't happen or that doesn't happen, because literally everything got shut down. The worst case scenario happened. But what do? Brush ourselves off. It took a little while, and I'm not going to say it didn't affect us, but we're ready now, man.
You're still here.
Exactly.
You're here right now. Yeah. And
Yep.
you don't want to end 20-year baby of Images of Eden just
Exactly.
because of something like this. It's certainly not worth that.
It would be giving him too much power,
Yeah.
and we don't give evil power.
Especially with how good you guys are too. Like it's amazing, like to where you guys can go out, and you've seen it. You've seen it over in Europe now in those 3 shows. People love you. You would be doing your fans a disservice. It's if you would stop. And it, like another cliche here, doesn't it always get darkest before the dawn?
It does. And yeah, you're exactly right. Yep.
You come too far for something like this to stop.
Exactly. Yep.
So I'm glad you're here, that you're still here, that you guys are still doing it. So yeah, man, do you have anything else that you would like to say?
What do you think? What is your thoughts on all of this? Obviously, I said what I said. Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Some things I can't say, but if somebody else says it, it's okay.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But whatever, I'm just curious as to your thoughts when you heard the full story.
All right. Good deal.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yes,
Trevor
sir.
Crash Night right there.
Yes, sir. You guys got it exclusively here on the Crash Course Metal Show.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
We love you, Gordon.
Love you too, brother.
man.
Thank you. Thanks so much for always having me, man.
Yeah. Keep up the great work. You guys got some new stuff coming out real quick. You got something new coming out here?
Yes, we do. Actually, today we a single called "Here Comes the Sun." We did a Beatles remake, and it was actually birthed by this whole experience. So yeah, another idea Steve Dorsum had that I was like, what? And then it turned up. I knew it was going to be a good idea. I just had no idea how we were going to make it happen, but we did. And yeah, man, check it out.
Awesome. Good stuff, Gordon. Hey, thank you again for coming on, guys. And
appreciate it.
yes, shout out to Images of Eden as well for sticking it through. Everyone, it was rough for everybody in the band. So, and rough for all the fans too. We were kind of like worried about you guys there for a little while too. And it's just great so that you guys are back. But until next time, guys, thank you for watching the Crash Course Metal Show.
Thank you, guys.
That's Gordon Titsworth. I'm Trevor Crash Knight. We will see you guys later.